Y'all ain't
gonna need
never
all we gonna
comfortable.
need all our
Let's be
defense.
real.
We gonna need all
Laker
our
fans are
defense.
never comfortable.
Listen,
Yeah, because
the-
you gotta push
Y'all the
past,
most dramatic fan base ever. That's why nobody
brother.
like y'all.
You gotta push past comfort to get to success, my brother. Just so you know.
the Knicks
I
play
mean,
the Knicks.
You can't have success.
17 rings, and y'all want to be the most pessimistic fan base.
You know what franchise is comfortable? Oklahoma City.
Boston.
They're very
No, Jason. Fuck with it. Fuck that. What'd you just say, Shane? How many championships we got?
17.
Guess who got 4-5 more in one city?
Boston, that's 18. You don't have 22.
Okay, so there's that's where Jay is at. Jay ain't even talking about no other team, dog. He's not bothered by anybody but Boston. I can see it now.
Hello, Lakers fans. This is Wilson. So what you just heard was a clip from the last episode that we recorded as a group on March 10th, in which Big Mitch explains to Shane that the Lakers cannot afford basically to get comfortable or to be complacent. And I just think that clip, although it's I took it out of context because the actual context of it was when LeBron was hurt, and the rest of us were worried about how they were going to fare without LeBron, with the schedule being as tough as it's been, this month, and but Shane was not worried about it, and Big Mitch, I think his words were very poignant. He said that, obviously you heard the clip. Like I said, only Oklahoma City, they can afford to, feel comfortable because they're so far ahead. The Lakers aren't a team that can afford to feel like that. But that's not how they've been playing. That is how they've been playing. They've been playing like a team that is comfortable. And we saw it the last 4 games, I would say. Ever since LeBron came back from his injury, LeBron and Rui, I feel like that's what we've been seeing from the Lakers. But the Lakers were in Chicago, had an 18-point lead to start the fourth quarter, and I think it was a 5-point lead with it was a 13-point lead with 5 minutes left, and a 5-point lead with 10 seconds left, and they found a way to lose the game in spectacular fashion. And the day before that in Indiana, should have lost that one. Another situation where they had a 6-point lead with 2 minutes left, and then just stopped playing, and were lucky to win at the buzzer on the LeBron tip-in. 2 days before that, on Monday, they lose to the Magic in Orlando, and then 2 days before that, they lost to the Bulls at home by 31. That was just a complete wipeout. The game before that was a loss to the Bucks, where everybody sat. But overall, this Lakers right now, they're 7-8 this month, and I don't know. They've lost. What would that be now? It's 1 loss, 2 losses, 3 losses. So they lost 3 of their last. Sorry, they lost four of their last 5 games, and it doesn't really get any easier from here on out to close the season. They got the Grizzlies coming up, as I said, on Saturday. Then it's the Rockets on Monday. Then we go to April. It's the Warriors. Then it should be an easy game, you would think, against the Pelicans. Then we got the Thunder back-to-back, both in OKC. We got then the Mavericks. That should be a winnable game. And then we close with the Rockets, who are streaking right now. And finally with against the Blazers. Lakers currently right now, they sit at 44-29. So they would have to finish 6-3 to get to 50 wins. I don't know if they're going to get there. And I just think that it's it's disappointing. Some of the games that they've left on the table. And Shane Murray, it was interesting that he said in that last recording we did, he predicted that we would lose to the Bulls and the Magic the first 2 games, and he was right about that. We beat the Nuggets. The Nuggets were resting their people. It was just things were starting to look up, man. I mean, it's been an up and down month, but it's been starting with the first game of the month on March 2nd against the Clippers. That's win, win, win. Then a loss to the Celtics, loss to the Nets, loss to the Bucks. So win 3, lose 3. Beat the Nuggets. Lose 4. The Nuggets made it 4 losses in a row. Then we 3 straight wins against the Suns, the Spurs, and the Nuggets. And now, as I said, we've lost 4 of our last 5. So I just think this is a team that it's interesting. I think that J.J. Redick, what he has done, I would say that the thing that, other than the defense, the thing that really stood out this season for most of the season, the team was playing at their best, was just how hard they were playing and how sharp and how intense and the edge that they played with, which I hadn't really seen a Lakers team play like that really ever. The Shaq Kobe Lakers that first year when we went 67 and 15, they had a different look. I mean, obviously they were a dominant team, win 67 games, by not going out and competing as hard as you can every night. But, they're very methodical, bring the ball down, throw the ball in the Shaq, that type of stuff. And then after that, the rest of the years, they weren't ever worried about, having the best record in the West or anything like that. They just wanted to make sure they had home court in the first round, and they were good to go. So that, the regular season was basically just like an experiment or a testing ground, for Kobe, for the feud with each other, and Kobe to, do with his stuff, and in the playoffs they would, get focused and, make their championship runs. And the Kobe and Gasol, because obviously the closest that we've seen this season in terms of a team, just in terms of intensity every night, probably the 2009 Lakers that went 65 and 17. I can remember them being rather businesslike with their approach. But I think, it's strange because it's almost like a silver lining in a way. I've noticed that intensity that they play with, so I think I first started to notice it before the big trade, right? It's right before the trade, because LeBron and AD, remember, so we had traded, we moved D'Lo for DFS and Shake Milton, and we were playing well, but as LeBron and AD were saying, and Redick too, JJ got up there and said, they don't have much room for error, and but what happens is when you don't have much room for error, you play as hard as you can every night, right? Then AD gets hurt. He wasn't out that long, but they're playing without him, and they still beat. What did they beat that time? Did we beat Boston? Was it? I think. And I know we beat the Knicks. Might have beat the Clippers too. I don't really quite remember. But like the game against the Knicks, right, the same night as the trade, really showcased just how hard they played, how sharp and how intense. And then the trade happens, and Luka comes, and now Luka Doncic, he's someone obviously who's going to fundamentally change the very fabric of your team. And that's what he's done. But now Luka's someone who's known as, they said the reason the Dallas traded him was because of his work ethic or, things like that. Luka's not somebody. I mean, his performance over the years has been that of obviously it's been irrefutable. His performances, right? His numbers wise. But the way he plays is kind of, lazy, the European style. That's the way he comes off. And so it looks different with the Lakers with Luka being on the team, but what it also is that when they're fully healthy, uh, the margin for error that they have now is greater than it used to be. Whereas before, if they didn't play, at a high level of intensity for 4 quarters, they were going to be, in trouble. Now they can kind of come out and just, win on talent when the team is fully healthy. And I think what happened is, like last night, and it almost happened against the Pacers too, we have these leads in the fourth quarter, and they just kind of stopped. They just let up and take their foot off of the gas. And last night, it was what happened? We're up, like I said, we're up by 5-10 minutes left, and they get a basket, and then we get there was a basket and an one, I think, for Giddey. Then we inbound it. They get to steal. Kobe White hits the three to give the Bulls the lead. Right? They come out on the other end. JJ draws up a nice play. We get the basket, take a lead. But there's three seconds and some change left. Obviously, inbound the ball to Giddey. He comes down in a direct line, right at center court, right lined up with the basket from 47 feet, and he hits the three, and the Bulls win. And it was, it's just anytime something like that happens, it's just lack of focus. Obviously, as I said, you got an 18-point lead to start the fourth quarter, a 13-point lead with 5 minutes left. You have to win that game. You're playing against a Bulls team that has been playing well lately, but, they're 30. What are the Bulls now? Let me see here. The Bulls now are 33-40. They've been playing well. They won 8 of their last 10, and they won 4 in a row. But, the Lakers, especially after what the Bulls did to them in the game in L.A. Just earlier this week, that's the game. If you're the Lakers, come on, So I don't think it was this week. It was Saturday, last week on Saturday. But the Lakers should have been, And I was thinking to myself, man, I can't wait till we see the Bulls again, so we can get them back with that. And they still let the Bulls come back and win the game, But it's like you have to keep that same intensity for 4 quarters. If it were a 43 or 42 minute game, the Lakers would, it would be great, Or if it were a 3-quarter game, but you have to keep that intensity for all 4 quarters, even when you're a team that feels like you're so good or so talented or have so much firepower or so much star power that you can just roll the ball out there and win. So, if anything, I would say that the issue is that when they have their, full complement of players, or close to it, Roy didn't play yesterday, but when they have that, they're just a little bit too overconfident. Like they're good, but they're not quite good enough for that, right? I think if the Mark Williams trade if it had not been rescinded, then you have a situation where they're so good that, instead of being up by 18 against the Bulls at the start of the fourth, they're up by 30. And instead of being up by 13 with 5 minutes left, they're up by 20, And then at that point, even if you take your foot off the gas, you can still survive. But as they are, they're not quite that good. But like I said, it's a silver lining because the most dominant teams the Lakers have had in my lifetime, going back to Shaq and Kobe, this is kind of the stuff that they would do, like play down to their competition and, take their foot off the gas, feel like they can flip the switch on and off. The Shaq Kobe teams were known for that. And then the Kobe Gasol teams, it's interesting that it's always that first year kind of. Now, see, the Kobe Gasol teams, Gasol came over midway through the 2008 season, right? And so the first full season that they had with that full team was 2009, and they were, like I said, they won 65 games. So they were just, they were on their square, But then after that, in 2010, it's like 57 games, 56 games a year after that, stuff like that. So, they kind of reverted back to that old style. Because that Lakers team at that time had, top to bottom, it was the best team in the league, So, I mean, that's kind of how they were. It takes a certain type of team to have the best team and come out every year and treat the regular season, every game of the regular season, like it's a playoff game. That's what Michael Jordan's Bulls did, especially in that second three-peat run. That's what the Warriors did from 2015 to 2017. The Lakers during my lifetime, or at least since I've been watching the Lakers for about, I'm not watching the Lakers, but really like locked in. It's like a diehard Lakers fan. It's been about 25 years. They haven't displayed that for more than one season at a time. But that's why I brought up the silver lining in it, is that they're talented enough now that they feel like they have, that's a good, in a certain way. If you think about it, I don't feel like we've been that talented since, I don't even know if the 2020 team that won the title was had a roster that felt like they could just come out and just roll the ball out there and they would win, So that's the good part of it, if you can look at it like that, is that this is a team that have Luka, LeBron, Austin, JJ Redick is the coach. They feel like, we can go out there and beat anybody on any given night if we just play our game. It's probably their mentality. And, when they're at their best, we've seen what they can do. When they're at their best, when they help them, they have their guys. There's nobody that the Lakers cannot compete with, But, like I said, referencing a big Mitch said about OKC, they had a game against the Timberwolves, that game where Ant-Man got kicked out and the Timberwolves went on a run and won the game. I think it went to overtime with the Timberwolves. They were down. They went on a run and won the game. And, for OKC, that was embarrassing. But it's like when you're 61-12 like OKC is, you can afford to have some nights like that. When you're the Lakers and you're fighting, right now the Lakers are fourth, percentage points, not percentage points, I guess they're on the tiebreaker against Memphis. So they're fourth, a game and a half behind Denver, and what is that? 3.5 games behind Houston. You pretty much forget about Houston. Might have to forget about Denver too. And we're 2.5 games ahead of the Clippers and Golden State. So the Lakers might feel like, well, as long as we're not in the play-in, we're fine. But I don't know. I'm just the type of person who I keep everything on the table. If you look at the matchups, they like I said, Memphis just fired their coach. Taylor Jenkins in a move that really didn't make any sense. He's done a good job there. They've had some injuries, and they're still 44-29, and it's 9 games left in the season while RG fired their head coach. Maybe some stuff that was going on behind the scenes there that we'll find out about in the coming days. But, so the Lakers is in a certain way, they, like I said, with Memphis coming up twice, Memphis coming up once, and Houston coming up twice. The Lakers have a chance to, if there's any chance they can catch Houston, if they want to at least separate themselves from Memphis, it's in their hands. But I just think that they have to They need to play like what their record is and what the position that they're in. But maybe they don't care about the seed as long as they're not in the plan. So, because I don't look at, they don't fear Denver anymore. If it's, if they get Memphis, are they worried about Memphis? Memphis just fired their coach. So, if it's 4-5, which it would be if the season ended right now. And like I said, they don't even fear Denver anymore. I'm not making excuses, obviously. I've been saying the whole time that it's not good. You just went 0-3 against Chicago and Orlando, who are teams that are under 500. That's really bad. It's not good. But I'm just saying, in a certain way, if you think about it, it is. It could be like a silver lining, like I said. What else is going on in the NBA? Maybe not NBA, but in the women's game, the college, but obviously it's March Madness, and I had the situation where JuJu Watkins obviously tore her ACL, and it was interesting because 2 days before that, my dad he took a selfie with her. He was able to meet her and take a picture with her, and then so that happens on I think that was Saturday, and then 2 days later on Monday, that's the game she blew out her ACL, and my dad was at the game, and then not only that, but guess who was at the game in Chicago yesterday that the Lakers lost in spectacular fashion to the Bulls? Guess who was at the game? Not my dad, but his wife, who I have done, I produced a few, she was a singer, I produced a few of her songs. But, well, I mean, not a few of her songs, like a few demos or whatever you want to call them. She was basically, she was nice. She can sing, and she was nice enough to sing over some, she sang, and then I put some instrumentals I made under them. But she was at the game. And I'm thinking to myself, what is going on? First, my dad jinxes JuJu, or curses JuJu. And then his wife is at the game in Chicago where that weird stuff happened with the Lakers that allowed them to lose that game. It's crazy when you think about it. I thought I was the only one who was that type of bad luck, But yeah, man. My thoughts go out to JuJu. She's somebody who I'm not a hater, man. It doesn't matter what I have to say about women. I give credit where credit is due. JuJu is cold, and I think right now the women's game, because of their star making, there's a purity there to their game that is it's exciting. And JuJu is the most talented woman that's ever played. You have Paige Becker. Paige Becker is the most efficient player to ever play women's basketball. Obviously, I don't know what Caitlin Clark is doing in the WNBA. And, like I said, I give credit where it's due. I think that they're doing things right now that the men's game is lacking. But I think if you look at it, the women's game is at the point right now where if you say, okay, well, the NBA His first year was 1946, right? So the WNBA has been around like almost 30 years now. So, we're talking at the same point relative, in the history of their, respective leagues. NBA is about 30 years in, while, so around that time, the NBA was in a rough spot, but around mid 70s were like the lost era of the NBA. But that was around the time where Dr. J comes in, and then 1979 and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird come in, and then 1984 Michael Jordan comes in, and the rest is history. And I think that right now, and basically, it's like if you've already seen, we've seen Wilt, we've seen Russell, we've seen Baylor, West, Robinson, we've seen Kareem, we've seen Dr. J, Bird, Magic, Jordan, Shaq, Kobe, LeBron. How does it get any better than that? We've seen Steph Curry. It doesn't go up from here. I think that Wemby, as exciting of a prospect and a player as he's turned out to be in his first 2 seasons, it'd be a lot better if he were American. And obviously, thoughts to Wemby, and hopefully he's able to make a full recovery. Same with Dame Lillard with those blood clots. But, it would be a lot better if Wemby were American. It sucks in the NBA that the top 4 players are all American. I'm talking Joker, Giannis, Luka. I'm grateful to have Luka on the Lakers, but if you think about, and also Shea Gilgeous, the other person in that top 4, if you think about it, the NBA being an American game, it would be better if the best players were American. And I think if you look at the women's game, they're at the point now where they're having some really, really talented girls come along that can really play. And that's there. You can almost look at JuJu, Caitlin, and Paige as like their Bird, Magic, and Jordan. And so they're on the rise. Whereas with the NBA, it's peaked already. And from here, it can only go down, especially when all of the best players come in the league are now foreign-born players, international players. So, and I just can only hope, like I said, that JuJu's able to make a full recovery. What I worry about is that JuJu, because her, more than any girl who's ever played, right, there's some bounce to her game, to the way she plays. When I say bounce, I don't mean bounce like, Baron Davis or somebody like that. I mean bounce like, when she plays with a certain, she plays like a dude, and I just worry that that's what I'm worried about her losing. The other thing you have to worry about, when you have an injury like that, is just it's a confidence thing. And I think that, if you go back, I remember when Willis McGahee tore his ACL, right? And Willis McGahee was a great player in college in Miami. He tears his ACL, still gets picked in the first round, but in the NFL, he was not the player that he was in college. And he still had a very good career, but he didn't have the same explosiveness. He became a little bit bulkier, I think, to make up for the explosiveness he lost with the injury, right? And then time goes on, you get to the point where somebody like started to be kind of, obviously Derrick Rose, right? And I think Derrick Rose, I think he lost something, maybe a little bit athletically, And of course, he had multiple injuries, right? But I think one of the things is that, when you have a lot of injuries, like back to back to back, it's hard to keep that same rhythm and that same mojo that you had. But also, I think it's the confidence thing. Just like in boxing, a lot of fighters, when they take their first loss, it's like they're never the same. Because you got to think one of the things about a great athlete that makes them unique is they feel invincible. And when they get hurt and they get knocked down off that pedestal like that, some guys are able to come back strong. Tom Brady, tore his ACL in his prime, 31 years old. He had another Hall of Fame career after that point. He had a Hall of Fame career before that point and a Hall of Fame career after that point. Really had 2 Hall of Fame careers after that point, and so Adrian Peterson, what he was able to do when he tore his ACL and he came right back. I think that was 2012? I think it was. So it was kind of scattershot. RG3 tore his ACL and he was never the same. And that's another thing I said, man. It's as the medicine advanced and all those things. I think it became more about certain athletes when they have a type of injury and they they spent the last someone like RG3. He probably had never happened to him before. I'm not sure, but he was in such one of the highest when had a great rookie year. Then he tears his ACL, and I think now RG3's game was built on speed. That was what made him great. But we've seen athletes tear their ACL and come back and still be great athletes. And if they lost a step, it wasn't much, right? When you're athletic as Jerry, it's just like when Amari Stoudemire, when he started hurting his I think he hurt his knee in 2006, and it's like when he came back, he was still a great athlete, but he wasn't quite what he was before. But he had the mentality to get past that and get back to being a great player. Some people, they can't do that, and so I can only hope that JuJu is more like an Adrian Peterson or like an Amari Stoudemire. Somebody like that who can have this type of injury and come back and has the fortitude. And she's still so young; she's only 19, right? So that's my hope, is that she's able to come back and still be that same player that she was, because she was a special talent, and she is a special talent, I should say. And I just hope that when she comes back, she hasn't lost anything, because if she has, it'll be a great disservice. That's one of the saddest things you can see when an athlete. JuJu Watkins, like I said, she's the most talented player to ever play women's basketball, and you want to see when you have somebody who's that talented like that. It's levels to everything, but this is the most talented girl to ever play basketball. When you see somebody like that, you want to make sure that you get to see everything that they, could possibly be. And it reminds me of when, in The Bronx Tale, the tagline, the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. So it wouldn't be wasted talent, but it would be talent that was, talent that was. It's like we were. If she's not the same player when she comes back, it's like we were robbed of, of what could have been. Especially with her being so young. Even we start talking about guys who, like Penny and Grant Hill and guys like that. Derrick Rose. We got to see them at their best already, right? Juju's still so young. She hasn't even, she's still in college. So for sure want to see, her come back and bounce back and see what she can do in the WNBA and all that stuff. And yeah, I'm definitely rooting for her. And so with that said, I'm not going to hold you guys any longer. I'll just say goodbye until next time, and go Lakers. Take care.